Coffee and Cupcakes, Part 1, A Miraculous Ladybug Fanfiction. Today's chapter of Coffee and Cupcakes is done as a thank you to Ivana. I'll talk about that more at the end, but in the meantime, thank you, Ivana. Sorry if I'm not saying your name correctly. Marinette Dupain-Cheng had a rather strange relationship with sweets. She grew up in a household that smelled like vanilla and parents who always had leftover cookies from the bakery they ran on the lower level. It was a child's dream growing up, but by the time she reached adulthood, Marinette couldn't smell frosting without wanting to throw up. Adrien and Agreste, on the other hand, didn't grow up with sweets. In fact, they were forbidden in the house he was raised. Having started modeling for his father's clothing line at a young age, Adrien never got the chance to enjoy processed sugar without a small army of management persons putting him under surveillance. Walking past the bakery on the way to school growing up was small torture. Now, as two adults working in the same office, their morning tastes matched their upbringings. Marinette always got a black coffee while Adrien, modeling days long behind him, favored the sweeter side of life. Donuts, macarons, and cupcakes were no longer a foreign food in his life, although you wouldn't be able to tell by looking at his waistline. The two of them never interacted, as Adrien thought someone who ordered a black coffee would be as bitter as the drink, while Marinette didn't want to socialize with someone whose self-control looked to be at a toddler's level, as represented by his diet. And so they lived their lives, barely interacting, working in cubicles beside each other for 2 years. Surprisingly, it was Marinette who sparked their interaction. She stopped at the cafe beneath the office for her usual morning brew and, despite her wishes, left with a complimentary cupcake. "I'm sorry, but if you don't take it, it'll go in the trash," the barista said, sliding the box containing more frosting than cake towards her. "But I didn't order it," she huffed, annoyed at the inconvenience this caused her. She had a meeting to be at in 8 minutes. "It's part of the rewards program, ma'am. You are a regular after all. If you don't want it, I'm sure someone at your workplace will want it." She sighed and grabbed the box and her drink and ran upstairs. She didn't have time to argue and figured the garbage can underneath her desk would make a great home for it. Huffing, she set the box, coffee, and her purse on her desk and checked the time. There were 6 minutes until the meeting, and she still needed to pull together the documents for the briefing folders. Could she make it in time? "Is that what I think it is?" Marinette rolled her eyes as Adrien peeked over their shared cubicle wall and pointed at the cupcake box. "You can have it if you'd like," she said, not having the time to explain what happened. 5 minutes left. "Wait, really?" His eyes lit up as he reached for it. "Thank you!" Her heels clicked louder than they usually did as she hurried to the conference room. 4 minutes. She opened the door and patted down her now wild hair, hoping she didn't look too unkempt for the proposal. The last thing she wanted was another meeting with her boss about professionalism in the workplace. She set the folders down in front of the businessmen in the room, many of whom shot her glances of frustration for her near tardiness. She quickly sat down, glad that she made it before the meeting started, and reached for her coffee in hopes of blending in with the other suited co-workers. She realized, to her dismay, that she abandoned it unintentionally on her desk. There were 2 minutes left, and Marinette realized there wasn't enough time to go back to get it. "Excuse me?" The room turned to look at Adrien standing in the doorway, coffee in hand. "You," Marinette began, abruptly cutting herself off, embarrassed at the attention she called to herself. "Here you go," Adrien said, walking in and handing her the coffee she left on her desk. "Briefings can be hard without sustenance, especially for addicts like you." Thank you. Marinette furrowed her eyes together as she took her drink from him. He had never done a favor for her before. Hawkins walked in and clapped his hands together as a signal to start the meeting. "Heya, boss," Adrien said, slipping out before he could get caught up in a meeting he wasn't needed in. It was a good choice, as no one liked to spend more time with Hawkins than they had to. Marinette spent the meeting trying to shove thoughts of Adrien Agreste out of her head every time she took a sip of her morning coffee. The journalist, Alia, kept sending her glances with questions in her eyes about the exchange between Adrien and herself. All she could do was hope that it didn't make it onto her office gossip blog. "So what was that?" Alia asked, scooting her chair next to Marinette's after the meeting finished and their co-workers were trickling out. "I left it on my desk, and he did me a solid. That's all," Marinette said, putting her folder back together and standing up. It was no surprise that Alia tried to continue their conversation as they walked back to the cubicles together. "Don't give me that," Alia persisted. "I've never seen the two of you say more than 2 words to the other." "It's no big deal. I gave him my cupcake this morning, and he found a way to return the favor, I guess." "You guess? He ran an errand for you, Marinette." "Not really. It was just a friendly gesture from a coworker. That's all." Alia didn't say anything in response, but Marinette could tell from her smirk that she was planning something. Alia paused for a moment to stare Adrien down before walking back to her office. "Hi, Alia," he said, flashing her a smile. "Bye, Adrien." Marinette groaned as Alia walked away, almost sure she would keep an eye out for content she could use for the blog. "So why the cupcake this morning?" Adrien asked, cutting into her thoughts. "It's unlike you." "It's from the cafe downstairs," Marinette sighed. "I already knew that. Their key lime cupcakes are some of my favorites." "Apparently I won their giveaway for a free cupcake with every order for the next 3 months. "You're kidding!" he exclaimed, raising his voice enough that the entire office space stopped and turned to look at him. "Marinette," he continued, lowering his voice to a whisper, "do you realize how valuable that is?" "It's a burden, really. They're insisting I take it each time, which is such a waste." "How about we make a deal then?" "A deal? For the cupcakes?" "Yeah. If you bring me a cupcake every morning, I'll buy you lunch on Fridays. Deal?" She took a moment to think it over. Maybe that wouldn't be so bad. A cupcake is about €3, so that's 15 a week, which is a bit more than another person's lunch tab. "Okay. Yeah. Deal." "Great," he said. "Let me know where you'd like to eat." With that, the two of them turned back to their desks, unaware of the consequences this deal would bring over the next 3 months. Today's chapter of Coffee and Cupcakes is done as a thank you to Ivana for buying me a coffee on Ko-fi.com. Now, I don't drink coffee personally, so instead I'll call it a cupcake. This series will be crowdfunded, meaning that whenever enough people buy me another round, I'll get started on the next part and give a shout out to them in the video their contribution went towards. You can find a link to my Ko-fi account in the description box below. The way I look at it, it's like commissioning an artist for a piece of fan art. Thank you so much for helping me grow. I love you all, and I look forward to seeing if I'll be able to get enough support to continue this series.